Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's been a very, very long time since I last posted something here on the Penny Dreadful MTG channel. I never really came up with a better name, so that's my name. Also Josh. Today, and for the next little while, as long as I keep recording, we're not actually going to be playing Penny Dreadful. I haven't been playing in a little while, but that's because I've been playing a lot of Arena, which I've just been enjoying being able to play on my phone. And so what instead I've been playing is Historic, which is a format I actually think is really fantastic, mostly because it is not super widely played and therefore is super wide open. There's a lot of room for innovation. There's a lot of really cool decks. I've built a ton of decks that have won a lot that I think are very legitimately competitive. And therefore, I think it makes it really fun for someone like me who likes to try building out new stuff. So today, what we are playing is a Greasefang deck. For those who have never seen this combo before, Greasefang Okiba Boss. Basically, at the beginning of your combat, you get to reanimate a vehicle, and it gains haste. And so you get a Parhelion in your graveyard, and Parhelion is a 5/5 first strike flying vigilance that makes 2/4 flying vigilance angels that are attacking. So by itself, you play this Greasefang. It brings back Parhelion, which happens to be crew 4, and Greasefang is power 4. So you reanimate the Parhelion, crew it immediately, and attack immediately. That does 13 damage if unblocked. And at the end of your turn, you bounce the Parhelion, but you're still left with 2/4 flying vigilance creatures, which is enough to kill them, next turn a lot of the time, and does also a really good job of keeping back blockers so that in a racing situation, you attack for a bunch and then still are able to prevent dying on a swing back. So really powerful combo, been played in a lot of formats. And I've been playing a bunch of different Greasefang variants, an Esper version, a Mardu version, kind of using sort of the classic like mid-rangey combo type deck with a bunch of Thought Seizes and removal spells and stuff like that, and then the combo's a finisher. And I'd had some good success. I may record with some of those decks as well. But then I had also been playing this other deck that is named in my Arena deck files just Unearth Stuff. Because I had been really intrigued by the idea that you have 4 copies of Unearth, which returns a creature with CMC 3 or less from your grave to the battlefield, potentially very efficient play. But then they also recently printed this card Helping Hand, which is another version of Unearth. It comes into play tapped, but still now you have access to 2 different versions of a 1-mana reanimate a CMC 3 or less creature, which with that redundancy, you can kind of build around it. So the deck I've been playing, really was all in on that, playing like Bloodghasts and Prized Amalgams. This deck still plays Prized Amalgams. I've eventually cut the Bloodghasts. But what I found was that it worked pretty well. It attacked for a lot of damage, but it often just kind of got stymied by the first Wrath, or they just played a big creature, and all of a sudden I couldn't really attack very well. So I thought, well, let me see if I could just jam this Greasefang and this Greasefang package into this deck and see if it works, because it's trying to do a lot of the same things. And turns out it's been really successful. I've been winning with this deck more than pretty much any other deck I've built. So this is the first deck I'm going to show you guys. So talk through the cards a little bit quickly here. 4 Faithless Looting. This is one of the most powerful cards in the format. Just an incredibly efficient card where you get to draw 2, discard 2. This deck would play like 12 of these if it could. The flashback is also super relevant. You're trying to get your Parhelions into the graveyard. It's also, because you have all these Unearth effects, you get to, sometimes like on turn 1, Faithless Looting, discard a Greasefang and a Parhelion, and then turn 2, unearth it and attack. So really powerful. And you also play 4 Stitcher's Supplier, which mills 3 when it enters or dies. So you're kind of, filling your graveyard up with potential unearthed targets like Greasefang, and also potentially filling up with Parhelion. So kind of doing the same thing where you're just trying to find this combo. The deck also has this other part to it, which it plays 3 Archfiend's Vessel, which has been a pet card of mine for a long time. 1/1 lifelink. When it enters the battlefield from your graveyard, or if you cast from your graveyard, you exile it and get a 5/5 flyer. So with your unearths or your helping hands, you get a 1-mana 5/5 flyer. Very powerful against some strategies. Sometimes, there's decks that, play a lot of fatal pushes, and, this ends up being, not that great. But the worst case scenario is you spent 1 mana and they spent 1 mana and killed it. So, maybe you don't win on the spot, but you're not weighed down on cards or mana. So let's talk, before I get into this 2-drop section, I want to talk a little bit about the 3-drops. Play 4 Seasoned Pyromancer. This card is great because it's both a enabler and a payoff, where you're churning through your deck, discarding a lot of cards. A lot of times you're empty-handed pretty quickly, and when you're empty-handed, this draws you 2 cards. But it's also the kind of thing where maybe on turn 1 you Faithless Looting away a Seasoned Pyromancer, and then you unearth it the next turn, and then discard your next thing and then draw into more unearth. So it just lets you just cycle through the whole deck. It's a really important card for the deck. You play 3 Prized Amalgams because you have a bunch of different ways to bring things back, even without the Bloodghasts, which, like I said, I've eventually cut. This card is still pretty powerful. And the good thing about this version of Greasefang deck is it has this whole second game plan where you don't even need to really combo with the Greasefang. You can just play this Archfiend's Vessel, Seasoned Pyromancer, Prized Amalgam stuff deck and just put a bunch of power onto the board really quickly without actually having to combo. Another important piece of the puzzle is a digital-only card called Jarsil, a card that I've been really obsessed with for a long time and been jamming into a bunch of decks. If I keep recording more, I'll definitely end up playing this some more. So basically what this does is at the beginning of your combat, you get to cast a card with its intensity. So, it starts with 1. So the first turn, you get this out. You get to play a 1-mana card from your graveyard. Any 1 mana doesn't have to be an instant sorcery, and it casts for free. And then it becomes intensity 2. So the next turn you get to cast a 2-mana card. It has to be 2. It can't be another 1. And then up to 3. I mean, you can go to 4, but there's nothing to cast for 4. So 3 is as far as you get. But what's really good about this is you can discard it or mill it. And then the play pattern is you have this in your graveyard, you unearth it, and then immediately, so let's say you Faithless Looting away a Jarsil and a Seasoned Pyromancer. Then you unearth the Jarsil, and then go to combat and immediately cast the unearth that you just cast to get the Jarsil back and unearth the Pyromancer. So you get to basically, for 1 mana, get the Jarsil in play and the Seasoned Pyromancer into play. So it's a really powerful play pattern. Unearth plus this card is great. Some people play this in Jund versions for Historic. I've had a few different versions of that as well. I think it's an effect I'm kind of obsessed with, and I really enjoy it because, it's not just a 3/3 into play. You also, this intensity 2, the next turn is really valuable. You get to cast one of these, and then the next turn you can cast a 3-drop for free. So that's a really important part of the deck. This is a Mardu deck, and this is green, so you don't have a lot of ways to cast it. You do have 4 mana confluence, and you draw a lot, you do a lot of looting. So, it happens more than it would in many decks that you end up with a mana confluence in play and are able to hard cast this card. It's awkward. Historic doesn't have fetch lands, so the mana bases aren't as powerful, especially, doing something like a 4-color mana base is really tough. There's not even a really good Birds of Paradise variant, including there is no Birds of Paradise. So 4-color decks are pretty tough in this format, especially fast 4-color decks. But really, this is 3 with kind of, the occasional splash for this. And, every once in a while, you can also cast a Prized Amalgam with the mana confluence. Okay, so let's talk about the 2-drops. So I've gone through a bunch of different iterations, and I think actually at the end of this video, I'm going to put, for those who are interested in learning more, some of the other things that I've tried along the way for people who want to try experimenting a bit. I'm going to put it at the end. So what I've come around to, there's basically what I've been trying to figure out is what the right combination of enablers is here. And the card that I found the best is Collective Brutality. It's an Escalate card from Shadows over Innistrad originally. You cast, you can choose 1 or more. You basically duress them. well, it has to be an instant or sorcery, not all non-creatures, so you can't get planeswalkers, but you get to make them discard an instant or sorcery. You can give a creature -2/-2, or you can drain them for 2 life. And for each extra mode, you discard a card. So this is an important card as it's an enabler against, or it's an enabler to discard your cards that you want to put in the graveyard for your unearths or discard your Parhelions. But it's also disruption, taking away their wrath and then discarding 2 cards that you can unearth is important. Being able to kill, there's like an elf deck, that's important to -2/-2, you're their Elvish Archdruid, something like that. And then the drain mode comes into play sometimes too. Sometimes you need to do that last 2 points of damage or survive, and that 2 life is valuable. Something that's kind of relevant, actually, I've found, is turn 1 Stitcher Supplier, and you really want to discard 2 cards, and there's no creature on their side, so you just -2/-2 your Stitcher Supplier and let you mill 3 more. I'm also playing 1 Call a Surprise Witness. The Arena client for ordering things is kind of tough. This is another kind of unearthed variant. I've gone with a split of 3 Helping Hand, 1 Call a Surprise Witness. This brings something back and gives it flying. And Helping Hand is great at 1 mana, obviously, but you kind of want another one that's a 2-drop for Jarsoul, so that sometimes you can unearth on the first turn with this, and then still be able to unearth another thing with the second turn. And the other thing is that Helping Hand is a little awkward with Greasefang, because if it comes into play tapped, you can't crew the Parhelion unless you have other creatures in play. So having another copy of something that brings it back untapped is valuable. And then the last 2 cards I have a Scrapwork Mutt. This is a nice one because you can mill over it with your suppliers or discard it and still acts as a enabler. With a deck like this that does a lot of milling, does a lot of filtering through the deck, having kind of a one-of access to something like this is pretty valuable because you hit it more games than other decks might. And then the other card I have is Seasoned Hallowblade. It's a card I actually really liked. It's possible that I don't even need the Scrapboard Mutt and want to play 2 Seasoned Hallowblade. I've been pretty impressed with it. It's a 3/1 that you can discard a card to give it indestructible. It also taps it. It's nice against some control decks sometimes to prevent, to survive through Wrath. It's good against creature decks as just a big blocker, and it's a free discard outlet. So I've been pretty impressed with this. So the 2 biggest decks by far in this format are a blue-red Prowess deck and a blue-white control deck. This is pretty good against both, especially the blue-white control deck. The collective brutalities are great, taking their wraths. And the big thing that you basically do is you try to put a big board out with your Archfiend's Vessels, your Prized Amalgams, your Seasoned Pyromancers, Seasoned Hallowblade, to make them have to wrath. And when they wrath, you untap and just kill them with a Greasefang combo. It's kind of like a tempo twin deck. That's the same idea where it's like you make them tap out for the wrath, and then you kill them with a combo once they tap out. So let's get to gameplay. I'm playing Best of 1, and I'm going to run this through a historic event, and I will be right back with round 1. All right, round 1. We are on the play, which is great. This hand's definitely a mulligan. The mana, I forgot to talk about the mana in the deck tech, but the mana's decent. It's not perfect, though. We'd have nothing we can do here, so we're going to go to 6. Oof, this one's a little awkward as well. I think I can keep this one, though. We have the Scrapwork Mutt and the Seasoned Hallowblade to kind of do some stuff. I'm going to keep. And what do I want to pitch? It's either the Collective Brutality or the Seasoned Hallowblade, I think. I think I'm going to lean towards the Collective Brutality. All right. Oops. I'm actually not super used to playing. Like I said, I've been playing a lot on my phone. I'm not super used to playing on PC, but let's see how this goes. All right. Turn 1 Swamp. They might Thoughtseize us. What are they thinking about? They are tanking. Hello. Play with these guys. So my plan is to go Scrapwork Mutt. Oh, there we go. We found the black source. So, you know, we could Scrapwork Mutt, discard Greasefang. I think I'm just going to run out the Seasoned Hallowblade here. It looks, I mean, it's a pretty powerful card against a lot of black decks. Turn 1 swamp. Just because they have a tough time killing it a lot of the time. So let's see how this goes. We can just try to beat down a little bit. Sometimes you can just play your Greasefang as a 4-3 for 3. It's, you know, it can hit even if you're not comboing. Let's see. All right, we drew a Faithless Looting. Let's cast that pre-combat. You want to do stuff pre-combat because of Greasefang and because of Jarsil. Both of them trigger on combat. It's worth noting that if you Jarsil and then Rat out. Okay. That thing is dead. Fair enough. Okay. Discard Archfiend's Vessel and definitely discarding a land. We could discard the Mana Confluence. I think I'm going to discard the Inspiring Vantage so we have outs to cast Jarsil. And it's fine if we take a little bit of damage. And we're going to unearth the Archfiend's Vessel. Get ourselves a 5/5 flyer. I have a sneaking suspicion that we're playing against what I like to call the unserious decks. You know, there's a lot of people who kind of start playing Arena and then just put the cards that they've gained through drafting into a deck and run it through a league. So those are usually kind of buys. But we'll see. Maybe there's more going on. It's the Rat Out, which is not a great card, and then 3 basic lands. Is a little bit of an indicator. Plus, they're all from this set, the Wilds of Eldraine. Yeah, it looks like some sort of rat tribal deck. What are they going to do? They're making a rat. Okay. Drew another Greasefang. All right. So in that case, I am going to just beat down with the 5/5. I'm just going to run this Greasefang out there. Like I said, you know, we have a backup copy, and now we just get to play it as a 4/3, which against their 2/3 and 2 guys who can't block looks pretty decent. All right, they play another Swamp. What you got, Eva? Game over. Next turn, let's see what I draw. I could potentially flashback. Faceless Looting. They're getting in. All right, so I kind of smell another rat out. I'm just going to eat a rat. You know, if they have something, if they have a combat trick. Oh, they have 9 Crescendo. Oh, I should have known. Gives everything +2/+0, and whenever a non-token creature dies, they get a rat. Okay. So that's one to keep a lookout for. All right. I'm going to get in with I'm going to cast the Scrapwork, discard the Prized Amalgam. I guess I could have just cast the Prized Amalgam, but let's attack for 5 and play a Stitcher Supplier, which is going to work pretty well as a blocker here. All right, so we have the Parhelion. So we milled over the Parhelion, so next turn we can combo off, especially if they tap. I mean, we're going to go for it regardless, but let's see what they do. We're still in good shape even if they kill the combo piece. All right, they shatter the source. All right, so let's block like, just double block. Doesn't really matter, we just win. Take 1, then cast the Greasefang, and hit them for 12. We could even have called Surprise Witness our Greasefang instead. We could do it to take 1 less damage, but let's just do it the easy way. So you get to see the combo. Tap the Greasefang. All attack. All right, I'm just now realizing that spacebar is the equivalent of clicking this button. So I have now figured out the keyboard shortcut. All right, 1-0. Back for next round. All right, round 2. What do we have here? Yeah, I think this is a keep. It's a little bit on the slower side, but we have a Collective Brutality. We can potentially pitch Prized Amalgam and Seasoned Pyromancer, unearth the Pyromancer, bring back the Prized Amalgam. So we're going to lead. Okay, Llanowar Elves means either elves or... Ooh, all right, we can do some real stuff. Llanowar Elves either means elves or mono green devotion. Those are the 2 decks. All right, so this is mono green devotion. Let's see. So we're going to want a Collective Brutality. So we can either Brutality pitching Pyromancer and Jarsil. Next turn, unearth Jarsil, unearth Pyromancer. Or we can try to do the Amalgam thing. I think the Jarsil thing is the way to go. So let's cast Brutality, choose all 3 modes. This, by the way, is why I said this deck would play like 12 copies of Faithless Looting, because as good as Collective Brutality can be, you know, this would be way better if we could just like unearth this turn. All right, we get to take the Storm the Festival. This is an important card for their deck, and kill their Llanowar Elves. So they're going to be kind of tight on mana. They can't actually cast anything right now. All right, they have another Llanowar Elves. They get in for 4. All right, we drew a Helping Hand. Okay, so that's actually really nice. So we get to unearth the Jarsil. Go to combat. Jarsil casts Unearth. Target Seasoned Pyromancer. And then we'll discard Prized Amalgam and Okiba. Greasefang. Okiba. And then let's Faithless Looting here. Just, you know what? No, we don't need a Faithless Looting. Let's do it next turn. I was going to say just in case we draw Parhelion, but we're already past our combat. So no reason. We'll do it next turn to get to see one more card. All right. So put a bunch of stuff into play. They can cast a Kiora. Doesn't do all that much here. All right, now let's cast this Faithless Looting. All right, discard Prized Amalgam? Yeah, discard Prized Amalgam. There was something to be said for discarding something else and casting the Prized Amalgam, but I think this is where we want to be. All right, we'll discard Scrapwork Mutt and second Greasefang, I think. So next turn we actually get to cast. All right, you know what? I'm going to discard Seasoned Pyromancer and Scrapwork Mutt, I think is what I want to do here. All right, so we go to combat. Now we get to Collective Brutality. What do we want to do? We definitely want to kill the Llanowar Elves. Oh, and they're just going to scoop. They saw where the writing was on the wall. Sweet. We were going to kill the Llanowar Elves. They were going to kind of have nothing to do, and we're just going to attack for a bunch. This is the kind of game that you can win without needing the combo. We just had a bunch of power in play, and we were just going to kind of overwhelm them with it. So, good game. We'll be back for round 3. All right, round 3 against Semo. Okay. Yeah, this is a keep. It'd be better if this Jarsil was something else, the second one. But on the play, Faithless Looting into Unearth with the Jarsil. Definitely nice. We have the land. We can hopefully draw another one. All right, so now we're going to go Archfiend's Vessel and Jarsil in the bin. And then next turn, we can actually call a Surprise Witness, the Jarsil, give it flying, and then we can just cast the Archfiend's Vessel for 1. All right, let's do that. We're taking 2, yeah. All right, we're going to call Surprise Witness. So we're playing against Soul Sisters, by the way. A pretty popular deck. There's a few different variants. One with like angels, an angels theme. I'm not sure what this one is yet. There's like a mono white. There's one with the Scurry Oak Heliod combo. We'll see what we're facing. So potentially next turn we draw a land, we could Faithless Looting, discard the Greasefang, and then call Surprise Witness it. This deck doesn't, our opponent's deck doesn't play a lot of removal. What you got? So if anyone hasn't come across Soul Sisters before, it's a deck that plays things like this, and then cards like this. Whenever you gain life, you get a counter on it and scry 1. So this immediately gets to be a 3/3, and they scry. And they scry to the top. We get to attack for 8, though, in the air. This is the nice thing about Call Surprise Witness. Gives our Jarsil flying. All right. Ooh, we drew a Parhelion, which is interesting. Well, we can't really... Yeah, right now we're kind of just stuck doing... we could unearth, cycle. So we could cycle unearth, play a land, although the unearth lets us Faithless Looting and Greasefang on the same turn, so maybe we don't want to. Let's see, let's maybe do it end of turn. The Helping Hand, well, you know, actually we can still use Helping Hand to do the Greasefang combo because we can tap the Demon to crew the Parhelion instead of the Greasefang. The issue being, as I mentioned, that this makes it come to play tap, so sometimes this doesn't let you combo, but we actually will be able to still. All right, so I'm guessing that they're playing Scurry Oak and Heliod, which is like an infinite combo to make a bunch of squirrels. That's the kind of green-white variant, although interestingly, they're also playing red mana. Not sure what that would be for. I haven't seen a red variant. Maybe they're playing, you know, more tokens and then playing like Imidane's Recruiter to just kind of anthem their creatures. It's interesting. All right, so they're getting in for 4. We're at 12. Ooh. All right, we go to 11. Cycle this. Draw another Greasefang. All right, no help. All right, well. Yeah, we're not casting the Surprise Witness. Let's just get in. I mean, we have lethal next turn. Even if they play a creature and gain a life, we have 2 flying creatures. They have no flying blockers, so we have a reasonable shot. Again, not needing to use the combo. Just sometimes you can just put a bunch of power into play. Skyclave Apparition. Okay. So that gains them a life and lets them survive for a turn. They get in for... do they have lethal? Let's see. They attack for 5. Next turn, yeah, they do have lethal next turn. This is tough. So hopefully we draw a red source, because then we can Seasoned Pyromancer. Okay, perfect. I'm going to play Blackleaf Cliffs. Yeah, this doesn't have trample. So we're going to get in for 5. And then we're going to play Seasoned Pyromancer. Discard Parhelion and Okiba or Jarsil. I guess, sorry, I keep calling it Okiba, Greasefang. All right. So now we have 3 blockers. They have 3 attackers. They're at 1. And if they somehow don't kill us, but we untap, and they've like killed our demon, we still have the combo to kill them with. All right, so they gain life. They're topping. Interesting. Voice of the Blessed. They gain 2 life. This doesn't become a... So this becomes a flying in vigilance once it has 4 or more counters. They keep putting something on top. Do they have another creature to make this a flying blocker? Is that the idea? Even if they have a way to give this trample, we're not dead. Yeah, maybe we are. 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, we are actually. I mean, I'll block. All right. Yeah. Let's cast Greasefang. Go to combat. Bring back the Parhelion. Crew it. Oops. Not crew it twice. Go to attacks. Attack with Parhelion. Attack with the demon token. All right. Boom. Easy peasy. 4-0. Be back for next round. All right. Round 5 against Oviedo. What do we got? I think this is a keep. We can turn one. Let's keep this. We can maybe Stitcher Supplier on turn 1. And next turn we can Faithless Looting, hoping to find a white source, and then discard maybe Prized Amalgam Vessel or Prized Amalgam Seasoned Pyromancer. Ooh, we milled 2 white sources. Never great. Okay, another vessel. Okay, well, that's awkward. But we drew another Faithless Looting, so that's good. I'm going to discard the Archfiend's Vessel, I think. That's kind of close. Attack for 1. One weird thing about the Arena client is that they can see which cards you're looking at. Like, it shows you, like, lights up what they're hovering over, which I always think is kind of weird. It feels invasive. All right, Faithless Looting. Ooh, okay. Well, getting a little wrecked by our mana, but let's discard Jarsil and Archfiend's Vessel, attack for another 1. I haven't done anything. I don't know what Swamp is, by the way. There's like a mono black control deck, but it's a pretty slow hand if it is. I mean, maybe they kept a hand with a bunch of removal spells. Target opponent discards 2 cards, mills 2 cards, and loses 2 life. Okay, well, let's discard Helping Hand and Helping Hand? Yeah, I think we can rely on the Surprise Witness. All right. Man. Another Faithless Looting, luckily, but boy, oh boy. Oof, Jesus. All right. Think I'm going to discard the Okiba. All right. Any land gets us there, or gets us at least in a pretty good spot now. Although now we're down to the point where we'd have to discard our Call Surprise Witness, so that's a little awkward. All right. Oof. All right. That's pretty bad. Okay. Collective Brutality. Sure. Let's cast that. Ooh, all right. So they are like a mono black control deck. Let's get rid of the Fatal Push. We still have a bunch of good live draws. Land is not good anymore, unfortunately. This is a mono black control deck that I haven't seen like playing this card, but they're built kind of usually around like Shieldred plus the One Ring. It looks like maybe this is some sort of Waste Not deck, but a hand disruption deck. All right, they're playing a Davriel. Okay, we drew the Unearth. That's exactly what we needed. So I think we go Unearth on Jarsil. So they have Shieldred's Edict to make a sack a token creature. So we actually don't want to go the Archfiend's Vessel route, but I think we go Jarsil and then Unearth the Seasoned Pyromancer is the play. That's obviously a great draw. Get back the Jarsil, which triggers Prized Amalgam. And then we get back we cast the Unearth and get a Seasoned Pyromancer. The cool thing about Jarsil, it doesn't actually exile, so the Unearth's still in the graveyard, which is kind of sweet. Oh, nice. All right, so let's attack Davriel. Does it matter? Yeah, let's attack Davriel. Okay, so we also have Godless Shrine. Pay 2 life. Let's Helping Hand a... Do we want a Greasefang, or let's just get another Seasoned Pyromancer? Draw 2 more cards. All right. Pretty sweet. And they just scooped. There you go. Nicely done. This mono black control deck, I think this may be a Waste Not deck or just some hand disruption deck, but hand disruption's not that great against us. I mean, sometimes you can just Thoughtseize our Unearth or our Faithless Leading or like Enabler, and we're just completely screwed. But, we're actively trying to put cards in the graveyard, so, things that just make us discard 2 are not that effective against us. So even though we got mana screwed, I mean, they were a little bit screwed as well, but we still got there. So 5-0, nice start. Not 5-0. I think we're 4-0. Yeah, I think we're 4-0. I just saw that it was round 4. Why did I think we had 5? I don't know. Either way. This is round 5. We're 4-0. Okay. We lost the die roll, so we're on the draw. What do we think about this hand? I think it's fine. It's a little slow, but if we draw an Unearth, it really goes off. Okay. All right, so we're playing against Mono Green Devotion again. Blackleaf Cliffs, Collective Brutality. Also the fact that they had Utopia Sprawl. Ooh, interesting. Okay, so that's really good. So we get to Parhelion and Jarsil. So we get to... interesting. So you know what? I'm half inclined to not discard the Parhelion, to not like give up what we're trying to do and wait until next turn to discard it. I think it's fine though. The real interaction they can have is Boseiju to kill the Parhelion, although that's not really that great. So yeah, for those who don't know, this is like a Nykthos deck. Ooh, they're enchanting the Nykthos. And an Elvish Mystic. All right, cool. So this turn we get to Collective Brutality. We'll probably pitch a Pyromancer and kill their Elvish Mystic. So that's pretty nice. Reduce their overall mana and importantly reduce their devotion to green. All right, Collective Brutality. I might actually do all 3 modes. Target opponent, target a creature, target opponent. Discard a land and a Seasoned Pyromancer. It's nice to have the Seasoned Pyromancer in the graveyard to unearth. And it's nice to have a little extra life. All right, so they don't have a land. They don't have a spell, but they're just going to be able to play 1, 2, 3, 4. So they won't actually be able to play Cavalier if they don't draw a land. So Cavalier blocks Parhelion and blocks the Angels, but nice. All right, so they play the Old Growth Troll. It blocks the Parhelion and the Angels, but you still get in for a lot of damage, and if you can just kind of keep doing it over and over. So the fact that it's a 5/6 reach is relevant, but not that relevant. All right, One card that they have that's really good against us is Karn, because Karn stops artifact abilities, and we are a deck revolving around this artifact ability. So I think we're in pretty good shape. They don't really have enough devotion, I don't think, to like combo off in any way with this Ave. Let's see. Yeah, they play the Cavalier of Thorns. It's not really going to do it. They get another Forest. They're not dead on board, but the fact that we... Ooh. Okay. Ooh, this is going to get dicey. So they have another Nykthos. So now they have 7 more mana. Ooh, and they hit another Storm the Festival. Ooh, okay. Okay. This is going to get a little dicey, but we do get to next turn Seasoned Pyromancer away the Parhelion so that we get to do the combo again. Ooh, they found an Elder Gargaroth, which is another reach creature. Definitely scary. And they can untap the Nykthos. All right. They're kind of going off here. Oh, no, they can't. All right. So we can bring back Jarsel. All right, let's cast Seasoned Pyromancer. Actually, let's do this. Or we're gonna unearth the Jarsel? Yeah, we'll unearth the Jarsel. And then cast Seasoned Pyromancer, so we don't have to discard the unearth in the land, or unearth or the land. Get the Parhelion. All right. Parhelion triggers, Jarsel triggers. Okay, so with Jarsel, we're going to cast Unearth on Seasoned Pyromancer. Get 2 more 1/1s. The Stitcher's Suppliers go to the graveyard. Is there any reason to attack with the Greasefang? No, they just block here. Okay. Is this lethal? Math is for blockers. 3 attackers. They all attack our opponent. They block 2, gain 3, take 8. Yeah, this is lethal. No, they take 12. Yep. They gain 3, then they take 12. Boom. All right. We almost didn't quite get there, but we got there. So now we are 5-0. Apparently I can't count. All right. See you back for next round. All right. Round 6. Hopefully we get to play against Blue-White Control or Blue-Red Prowess this round so people can see those decks. Looks like we're playing against Blue-Red Prowess, I believe. That's the most common Gigantha deck. I track my games, and just because I'm obsessive like that, and I think Blue-Red Prowess and Blue-White Control represent about 50% of the metagame right now in Historic, so surprisingly we haven't played against them. All right, I'm going to keep this. Unearth with Stitcher Supplier and Collective Brutality is nice, plus we have Parhelion. So we're going to keep, yeah, like I said, they're a Gigantha deck. Most of the Gigantha decks are this Blue-Red Prowess deck. This deck kind of revolves around the fact that Symmetry Mage is powered up in online. So instead of in paper, this is a 0/2 that gives things base power 2. Online, it's power 3, and that's much more powerful. So makes the deck really good. It's a really good deck. I don't think it's overpowered. I think it's kind of sweet. Ooh, we didn't hit anything. That's not great. Yeah, it's I think probably the most popular deck right now. Ooh, they cast Play with Fire on the Stitcher Supplier, which seems pretty iffy, I gotta say. We didn't hit anything, but okay. So what are we doing here? I think we're gonna cast Collective Brutality. I think we're gonna discard these 2 cards. And then we'll use the Seasoned Pyromancer. We'll unearth the Jarsel next turn, unearth Seasoned Pyromancer, discard the Parhelion. All right, so choose all 3 modes. The -2/-2 doesn't actually do anything, but it lets us discard an extra card. Ooh, unless they have Spell Pierce. This deck sometimes plays Spell Pierce. I don't think they should, but sometimes they do. They do have Spell Pierce. Okay, well, that's actually fine. We didn't actually care that much about that spell resolving. Mostly we care about this Unearth resolving. So, what do they have? Flame of Anor. Targeting just draw 2 cards. Interesting. That's kind of not impressive. Alright, so we drew a Jarsil. Alright, Unearth. Jarsil. Go to combat. Cast Unearth. Cast Seasoned Pyromancer. Discard Parhelion and the second Jarsil. Alright. So let's cast this Faithless Looting. I think we can get rid of... I don't think we need another Helping Hand. And we have 2 Jarsils gone already, so I'm just going to discard the Mana Confluence. Play the Blackleaf Cliffs, and I don't want to... I could unearth a Stitcher's Supplier. That doesn't feel particularly good, so we'll end our turn. So we can't block, so we're definitely at risk of just kind of getting burned out. I mean, by we can't block, I mean we don't have any flying blockers and they have a flying attacker. Looks like they're talking about or thinking about killing our Jarsil. This is what I mean by the fact that they hover over these things. Ooh, they killed the Wizard Lightning. That's a terrible play. Because now we get to reanimate this. Maybe they're going to kill both? Yeah, they're going to kill both. All right, they're going to Flame of Anor. The Jarsil draw 2 cards and get in for 3. But now we get to unearth the Jarsil and then call a Surprise Witness on the Seasoned Pyromancer. All right, do I want to cast Faithless Looting first in case we hit Greasefang? I think I do. All right, we didn't. That is fine, though. All right, unearth. I guess we could cast the other Jarsil so that... No, I think that this is the one we... The other one would start on 1 intensity, so we could go unearth the Seasoned Pyromancer and then Collective Brutality next turn, but I think Brutality's not that good here, so let's... But being able to have a flying blocker seems really good. So we'll call a Surprise Witness, get the Seasoned Pyromancer. Didn't draw anything of note, and attack for 2. You know, maybe I shouldn't have attacked. They play Reckless Charge to give their creatures haste. So I actually think I probably should have just kept 1 back, although we're kind of beating them down. They're only at 12. They've done a lot of damage off their Fire Islet and Steam Vents. All right, so they have a Dreadhorde Arcanist. This is like the big thing this deck is built around, is using like Symmetry Mage to give this 3 power so that it can flash back like Flame of Anor and Wizard's Lightning and things like that. All right, so they killed the Jarsil. We have another Unearth for that. Now they kill the Seasoned Pyromancer, and they're going to get in for 3. Okay. So let's cast a Stitcher Supplier first, I think. Trying to hit a Greasefang to win on the spot. Boom, we got there. All right, nice. Unearth. Greasefang. Go to combat. Get the Parhelion. Crew the Parhelion. They can't block. This is 13 damage. Nice. All right. We are crushing. Like I said, this deck has been winning a lot. This matchup, I think I'm I've been seeing it at like, when I'm tracking something like 70% in our favor, and the blue I control one even higher. They gave us a good game. How do I, good game, good game. It's not like a, you know, a cakewalk, this matchup, but it's been pretty good. The whole deck overall has been like 75% in my tracking. So yeah, really crushing with it. I think this deck is awesome. So we're going for the trophy, right? Is that right? Let me look. I think we're going for the trophy next round. Come on. Come on, server. Oh my god. Good content. Yes, claim the reward. Claim the reward. Yep, 6-0. All right, going for the trophy. I'll pause while the we're waiting for to find an opponent. Okay. Better call Mike. What do we think here? All right, so we're on the play. We're playing probably against another blue-eyed Prowess deck. It's really by far the most common Giganta deck. There's not a lot of other ones. So this hand can, like, on turn 3, Seasoned Pyromancer and do a bunch of stuff. I think this is a keep, because we can also, like, draw a Stitcher Supplier or a Faithless Looting to speed it up. We have, like, lands and spells are both pretty good draws here. We can also, like, play an Archfiend's Vessel to block. All right, they drew a Soulscar Mage. Yeah, let's do that. That way, even if we don't draw a land, we can just block here and then unearth this next turn. Snap the block, even get to gain a life. All right, and they have Dreadhorde Arcanist. Okay, so what am I doing here? Am I just unearthing? I think I have time. I don't think I just need to make a 5/5, even though it is good against them. Let's Season Pyromancer, discard Jarsel and a Helping Hand. We have the unearth. We don't need both. All right, drew 2 lands. Not ideal, but we can try to trade for the Soulscar Mage, and then next turn Jarsel plus Archfiend's Vessel, or even Jarsel plus Seasoned Pyromancer, depending on what we think makes the most sense. This matchup is really all about, like, they come out more aggressively most of the time, unless you, like, get a really fast Archfiend's Vessel. This is really a race that they are favored in, so you kind of just try to weather the storm and kill them faster. All right, so this is the other big combo in this deck, is Reckless Charge plus Dreadhorde Arcanist. It gives this +3 power, so they get to, like, flashback any of their spells. They just get to do a ton of damage out of nowhere. So what are they going to cast? They get to cast something from their graveyard. They're probably either going to Reckless Charge the Arcanist again, or Wizard's Lightning our face. Yeah, that is indeed what they're going to do. We're going to block. We can jump, take 4. So, like I said, the matchup is about kind of conserving your life total. Ooh, Helping Hand is nice. I'm going to start on Helping Hand on the Seasoned Pyromancer. Or actually, no. I'm going to Helping... So I could Helping Hand the Seasoned Pyromancer, see if I can get there with Greasefang. But no, I think I'm going to Helping Hand the Archfiend's Vessel, because it comes into play tap, but it doesn't matter, because it becomes untapped. Then we're going to unearth the Jarsel. Go to combat, unearth the Pyromancer, discard the 2 lands, drew another Helping Hand, and a Call Surprise Witness. All right, am I attacking with this 1/1? I don't think so, no. All right, pass the turn. Do I have anything to flashback? No. All right, so it actually Okay, so they have the Flame of Anor. That's their best answer to the 5/5 flyer. But all right, they have a land. Do they have anything else? They have like another Reckless Charge would be pretty bad for us. They have another burn spell. All right, Wizard's Lightning, the Jarsil. Ooh, okay. Oh, they're going to shove aside the Seasoned Pyromancer. All right. So they cleared our board. We take one. We'll chump here. And then we get to kind of do it all over again. Ooh, interesting. So we could Collective Brutality the Jarsil. Sorry, we could Collective Brutality the Dreadhorde Arcanist. And then Helping Hand the Jarsil, and then Collective Brutality the Dreadhorde Arcanist again. Or we could just call a Surprise Witness the Jarsil. It's tough. All right, let's do this. Target creature gets -2/-2. I think I'm just going to kill the Soulscar Mage here. And then Helping Hand the Jarsil. And then I'm going to Collective Brutality and Duress them. All right, we take their Consider. Oh, they can still Reckless Charge the Dreadhorde Arcanist. Is pretty awkward. All right, so they attack for 4 plus cast Flame of Anor. Yeah, maybe this is not... I don't think I played this right. Yeah, I think I kind of bungled this. All right, so we take 4. We go to 3. Oh, you know what? And we're just dead. Okay, I don't think I played that quite right, but oh well. All right, back for round 8, trying to get the trophy next round. Okay. Let's try to get this trophy. All right, this is not a keep. Looks like we might be playing another Blue-Red Prowess matchup. All right, this is a keep, although an awkward one. You know, with 2 Faithless Lootings, I'm kind of tempted to just get rid of one of the lands. Maybe it's... Actually, you know what? Maybe we keep the Mana Confluence and... come on. Do it this way. All right. Turn 1, I'm probably going to Stitcher Supplier. How do I want to do this? Yeah, let's Stitcher Supplier on turn 1. Turn 2, Faithless Looting off the Confluence. All right. So we put the Greasefang into play. This is a good time to mention that part of the game with this deck is not revealing the Greasefang combo because they won't keep mana up. All right, well, that was a perfect fucking draw. Okay, so let's... By the way, we also can use this Scrapwork Mutt to trigger this Prized Amalgam, but we don't need to now. So we're going to Faithless Looting and discard Seasoned Pyromancer and... Is it Seasoned Pyromancer? What do we want to discard? Faithless Looting? All right, right now we can't cast Seasoned Pyromancer, so I'm going to discard Seasoned Pyromancer and Archfiend's Vessel. Then we're going to unearth the Vessel, I think, over the Pyromancer. I think that's what I want to do. Trigger the Prized Amalgam. Do I want to attack just to mill 3? Let's not. I don't know. Maybe we should have. Yeah, actually, you know what? We should have. We're trying to hit this Parhelion for the Greasefang. Might as well gotten in for one. The only reason to not attack there is just to keep a blocker back in case they have Reckless Charge plus a creature. But there's only one creature that they really play that doesn't have Trample. Oh, and actually with this, it gives everything Trample anyways, so really was no point. All right. So I think I like... Unearth on Seasoned Pyromancer and discard Faithless Looting Godless Shrine. Doesn't mean we don't have a land number 3 for Greasefang, but we'll probably draw into one. Yeah, we did. All right. Play this. I'm going to Unearth Scrapwork Mutt to see one extra card, discard the Mana Confluence. Oh. All right. Attack for bunch. You know, they're moving kind of slowly. They cast this Flame of Nor, so we have a chance to race them. They may have Reckless Charge here. Yeah, see, this is the big combo. Arcanist plus Reckless Charge. All right, we're definitely trading for Arcanist here. Unless they Flame of Nor kill the Seasoned Pyromancer. Which is probably the right play. Yeah, that indeed is. Okay. Well, we're taking a lot of damage. I mean, no blocks. We go to 7. We're not in great shape here. Do they have something else? They have another land. And a what? They have a removal spell for the prize amalgam? Okay. They do indeed. All right. Well, yeah, they can just kill us next turn, can't they? I don't think we have any outs here, actually. You know what? Our only out is Faithless Looting. We need to hit an untapped land and an... No, wait, we can't because we need an untapped land and a... Well, let's just cast it. We need an untapped land plus a Parhelion plus an Unearth. All right. GG's. See. All right. Well, we got one more shot to get in the trophy. Be back next round. As I mentioned, that blue-red Prowess matchup is pretty good for us, but it's not amazing, and they can definitely just kind of race you, especially if you don't get the Parhelion combo, the Greasefang combo, and especially that Balthor card is really good because you don't have flying blockers, and it gives everything trample, which means all your chump blocking power is kind of gone. All right, so this is kind of similar to the last hand, which we did not win with, but this one's going to work. I will keep it. I mean, as long as we can hit it on Earth. All right, is this another? Storm-Carved Coast. This might be Phoenix? Arclight Phoenix deck? Oh, this could be Jeskai Control. All right, so we hit the Parhelion. So the game is up in terms of what we're doing, assuming they know what a Greasefang deck looks like. All right, yeah, I think this is Jeskai Control. Nope, it's not. It is another... what's it called deck? Another Prowess deck that just isn't playing Gigantha. How do we want to do this? We could Collective Brutality. I think I want a Faithless Looting. I don't know. All right, discard Prized Amalgam and Archfiend's Vessel. Kind of a lame turn, but I guess let's attack. I would love to actually kill something with this Collective Brutality. There's only one creature they play that it kills. Oh, they don't have another land. That's a good sign. All right, let's start off with another Faithless Looting. All right, well, discard down. Definitely Godless Shrine. And probably, what do we want our last land to be? I guess Blood Crypt. Play another Faithless Looting, I think. Really need to try to hit something. Oof. Man. All right, I'm going to discard second Collective Brutality. I mean, I guess next turn we could double Brutality. I mean, just pitching the Pyromancer and the Stitcher Supplier kind of leaves us with nothing. I think I'm going to discard Brutality and land. Cast the Supplier. And we really need to hit like an Unearth. What did we just mill? Did we just mill a bunch of Unearths? Vessel, Helping Hand, and Stitcher Supplier. All right. No attacks. Okay. Well, that's nice for us. I mean, we don't really need to mill that much more here. All right, we milled a Jar Soul. That's useful. They attack. You get to flash back the Play with Fire. Are they going to kill the other Stitch Supplier? Sure. I think they should probably have just gone face with both of those, but that is fine. All right, we drew an Okiba, or I keep saying Okiba. we milled a Greasefang. I mean, you could call this Okiba, but that'd be a very weird place to nickname it. I feel like Greasefang or maybe Boss. All right. I'm kind of off the idea of Collective Brutality here. I think I just want to Seasoned Pyromaster, try to find an Unearth. Well, we didn't. Play the Mana Confluence. Yeah, these last draws this round and the last round have been not nearly as good. And, you know, you play a deck like this, you're going to have some variance in your draws. It's just kind of what happens. All right, we're going to take a lot more damage here. We still can just draw any of our Unearths or any of our Greasefangs, and we win on the spot. We even have a Faithless Looting to try to hit a Greasefang. I mean, we don't actually win on the spot. Let's not block. We take 6, go to 5. I don't think there's any reason to block. All right. That's not what we're looking to draw. Oof. All right. 2 Harhelions. All right. Oops. Cancel attacks. Yeah, when this deck doesn't draw the combo or any Unearths, it kind of does not a lot. Although, I mean, we took a lot of game actions, you know. Oh, they're playing Spire Bluff Bridge? What the hell? All right, we're dead. Close. We almost got there. But, yeah, 3 kind of rough draws in a row, all against Blue-Red Prowess. Meant that we dropped 3 straight. But I think still a pretty good showing for this deck. We didn't quite get the trophy, but started off 6-0, which was nice, and showed what this deck can do. Also showed, you know, sometimes you get these clunky draws in a deck like this. We definitely kept hands like without any action, but with like, I think both the last 2 games we kept hands with no Unearths, but with 2 Faithless Lootings, which I think are keeps. Because usually you can hit something by the time you've seen, you know, 6 or 7 cards deep, but we just never did, and that is magic. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed. Like I said, after this, I'm going to do a little talk about some of the other deck building options with this deck. But you know, comment if you enjoyed this. Other decks you'd like to see. Well, you know, I'll probably pick the other decks, but if you just comment for the sake of making people watch this video more, and let me know what you think. And yeah, I will be back in a minute. Okay, so here I'm going to talk a little bit about deck choices. I thought this would be a good way to do this so that you don't want to dive super deep into the deck up front. I'm not wasting everyone's time, but at the end, if people are really interested in kind of some of the more intricacies, I can go into them a little bit more because I have experimented a lot with this deck, and there's still some slightly awkward things like the one season Hallowblade. It's a little bit weird, but I think it kind of makes sense if you know how I got there. So what I would say is that with this deck, the 4 Faithless Looting, 4 Unearthed, 4 Stitcher Supplier, all of that are absolutely mandatory. I think you absolutely need 4 Parhelion, 4 Greasefang. There's one version, actually I should have pulled this up. There's one version, pause for a second, that I built around Goblin Engineer, which is a card that's common in Greasefang strategies to put the Parhelion to the graveyard. And you can also play Phyrexian Dragon Engine, which is kind of like another Seasoned Pyromancer effect. So I've experimented with that a little bit. I didn't find it to be super great, but this was all to say that that's one way that you could maybe not play 4 Parhelions if you're playing a few Goblin Engineers to access them more easily, which I think is valid, especially because this deck, unlike many decks, like Phyrexian Dragon Engine is a very real card in this deck. So that's pretty powerful, and you can play with Scrapboard Mutt. But anyway, so I think these are all totally mandatory 4 Parhelion, 4 Greasefang. I don't think I would play less than 3 Jarsil. I mean, maybe there's a build that's like kind of different. I don't think you could play 4 of these, maybe 3, maybe 2. I definitely like 4 Seasoned Pyromancers. You could get away with 3, but I find it to be pretty important. 2 or 3 Archfiend's Vessel. I think this card's great in this deck. Helping Hand, 2 or 3. I like the Call of Surprise Witness, and then this stuff is all a little bit up in the air. So, so far I've found Collective Brutality to be the best. You really want your 1-drop enablers, but there just aren't any others, really. There's like, some kind of mediocre, like 1 mana, discard a card, draw a card effects that are, theoretically vaguely playable, but really pretty bad. So you're better off playing the really good 2 mana looting effects. And you'd also want some 2 mana effects for Jarsil. So I've played a few different ones. Thrilling Discovery or Cathartic Reunion, kind of the same idea. Cathartic Reunion is easier to cast, and like you saw in the video, sometimes you have mana problems. But Thrilling Discovery is more powerful and less bad against counter magic. And similarly, Cathartic Pyre is a way to have a little bit more interaction in this deck, especially against like the blue-red Prowess deck that we saw. Dealing 3 damage is way better than this -2/-2 from Brutality because most of their creatures are 3 toughness, and that's a big deck in the format. So this card is definitely very valid. The thing I don't like about it is that, unlike Collective Brutality, you either get to interact or you get to loot. And a lot of times you're just stuck in this place where you don't have any, you have to use it as a looting effect. Because this deck needs to do its own game plan. It can't just be disrupting. So Collective Brutality gets to do both at the same time. Cathartic Pyre, you only get one or the other, and that can lead to games where it's like, you can either do your own thing or you can stop them for a little bit, but they get to do their own thing eventually. So, I'm not in love with this one either. Also, Bone Shards is a card. I might try playing one over like the Scrapboard Mutt is something that I might try out next. I played this in a lot of different decks that want to discard for value. 1 mana to kill a creature is very nice. You also can sack your Stitcher Supplier, or sometimes sack like a Seasoned Pyromancer token if you don't actually have a card to discard. So this card's pretty sweet, but what I don't like about it, and the reason that I've been kind of going away from this, or cards like Lightning Axe, similar idea, is that Blue-White Control is also a really popular deck in this format. The second most popular deck, at times maybe the most popular. And having a discard outlet that is dead a lot of the time, where you literally can't cast it against some decks, is really awkward, where sometimes you can maybe cast it on your own supplier or something, but you really need to be able to discard the cards when you want to discard the cards. So that's been kind of the issue. Let's see. There's also Bloodghast. Like I said, when I started this deck, I was playing, this earlier version without the Greasefangs. I was playing 4 Bloodghasts. Once I started the Greasefangs, I immediately cut one of them, and I've slowly just dwindled down because I felt like they just weren't exactly what this deck wanted to do. It kind of does bigger things than Bloodghast. The blue-white control deck also plays a lot of exile-based removal, so it makes this a lot worse. And and blue-red Prowess, they play all these like 0-3 blockers, or like Dreadhorde Darkness is a 1-3, which makes this card look pretty bad. So I don't love Bloodghast in this metagame, which is why I've been going against it. Let's see. There's also, so the Call of Surprise Witness, just thought I'd mention some of the other options. There's Recommission, which gives it +1/+1. I like the flying a little bit better, I think, just because of blue-red Prowess. And there's a lot of decks that are on the ground, so being able to fly above them is pretty nice, or blocking in the air. There's also Can't Stay Away, which is a little bit hard to cast, and means that it exiles when it dies, which sometimes is relevant because you can't like unearth it back. But it does have flashback, so if you like mill over it with a Stitch Supplier, some games you can cast it. You rarely get to 5 mana all that often though, so it's okay, and I might try it over Call of Surprise Witness, but not in love with it. You have some potential options for other 3-drops that you could play. Maybe like instead of Prized Amalgam, you could play some actual like castable 3-drops. There's Sanguine Evangelist. I've played this a little bit in the non-Greasefang version. It's all right. The Battle Cry is kind of cute. It's like a decent value card. It's not great against exile-based removal, again. Imidane's Recruiter, just giving you all your things +1/+0 and haste, kind of an aggro-y option. Kind of nice, can do some cool things, kind of awkward helping hands, but with the Greasefang, I found that like a closer like this is less needed. But again, you could try it over Prized Amalgam. You could play just Phyrexian Dragon Engine without the Goblin Engineers. That's definitely something I've thought about. Maybe as like your 5th season Pyromancer, but this can be awkward. Like you don't necessarily always want to discard your whole hand. So it's not perfect. Then I also tried Luris as a main deck card. It's kind of nice with Archfiend's Vessel. You don't have that many things to cast with it. You have 4 Stitch Supplier, 3 Archfiend's Vessel, that's 7. I mean, in this version you have 8, 9. That's iffy. Legion's Chant, by the way, is another online-only card that I've thought about, where you get to basically bring back anything with total CMC 3 or of 3. So you could just bring back a 3-drop, or you could bring back a 2-drop and a 1-drop, or 3 1-drops. I don't know. I think it's probably a lot worse than the 1 mana or 2 mana options, but it's a thought. Juggernaut Peddler. This is a card that I just thought is like a good 2-drop. I think it's too far away from the theme of the deck to really be worth it, but it's a really good digital-only card that you'll see in other videos. And First Day of Class. This card is kind of cool. I've played decks around the Phoenix from Strixhaven that comes back, like you can return it instead of learning. But learning, like the important part about learning is that you can get something from your sideboard, or you can rummage with it, discard to draw. So this can do some cool stuff where you can, like, on turn 3, cast this, rummage away a Seasoned Pyromancer, and then unearth it, discard 2 things, and now you have, like, a 3/3 haste and 2/2 hastes. That's kind of cool. But I think overall I found it to be too clunky, even though occasionally it does some really cool things. So yeah, those are the cards I've been trying out. There could be tweaks to the mana base potentially. I don't know, maybe this Godless Shrine could be a Blood Crypt. I could see, there's not that much option though, honestly. We're talking about really small tweaks. You could maybe do some math to figure out exactly what you want your ratio to be. But, you want double red for Seasoned Pyromancer. You need your white for Helping Hand and this stuff. So, and Greasefang. So there you go. Let me know if this was interesting at all. If you're interested in building the deck, though, hopefully this was a little bit helpful. And if not, you probably didn't watch it. So, fuck you. All right. Thanks for watching, everybody. Bye.